Hi, and welcome to another segment of the Sequire Spotlight. I'm your host, Carmel Fisher. With me, I have Mr. James Sapirstein, President and CEO of First Wave BioPharma with the Nasdaq ticker FWBI. James, welcome.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here today.
Wonderful. As a start, let's hear what First Wave BioPharma does.
Well, we're a clinical development company specializing in gastroenterology products. We have two products that we're currently working on. I'm happy to talk about that.
James, your career in the pharmaceutical industry spans just under 40 years, if I'm not mistaken. What drives you to this industry, and what are you most passionate about?
I'm passionate about helping people, quite frankly. I can tell you my happiest moment was launching something in Pretoria, actually, called Secure the Future back in the late 90s, which was going to supply drugs and clinical programs to 5 Southern African countries. So I've been both involved in philanthropy, but also bringing products to market.
Wonderful. What can you tell us in terms of First Wave BioPharma's most prominent and significant development so far?
So our lead product is a compound called adrulipase, and it's for exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. Exactly what is that? So that's for people who cannot absorb nutrients from their food. We've got an indication for pancreatitis, and we also have an indication for cystic fibrosis, which is really what we're pursuing right now. Most people think about cystic fibrosis patients as not being able to breathe well. They have an enzyme that doesn't allow them to secrete or break down certain mucus in their lungs. However, many of these patients also suffer from exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. So they take a pancreatic replacement therapy that's made from pig pancreases, actually crushed up pig pancreases. We have a product that is humanized. It's made from yeast cells or yeast enzymes. And we can talk about the pros and cons, but we're excited because we think this is going to replace the current products that are on the market.
Excellent. In a letter recently released, I believe it was November 16th, to your shareholders, you mentioned specific cost-cutting measures that were undertaken during 2022. Can you elaborate on those?
Yes. So those people who follow our stock have seen our share price drop precipitously, like many other biotech companies. So we're trying very hard to stay in compliance with Nasdaq. So we have to show what's called our positive shareholders equity with Nasdaq of $2.5 million. And in order to get there, we've had to make some cuts. So we've had to cut some staff, unfortunately. We've had to cut some vendor programs, unfortunately. So really trying to whittle down. So we're operating on fumes at this point. We're down to 10 employees and only really spending our capital on clinical trials at this point.
Understood. In that same letter, you mentioned a restructuring of certain obligations with former shareholders. Tell us more about that and how you're hoping they'll respond.
So these shareholders are actually people who we acquired the company from niclosamide, our second asset. We used to be called AzurRx. This company was First Wave, and we took their name as well as their asset during the acquisition. What's transpired since then, they've gone into a holding company called Fortis Advisors, and what's transpired is we've had to renegotiate the purchase. Quite frankly, the program just didn't go according to what we thought it was going to be. Therefore, we've had to negotiate with them to get the payment schedule down to something that's a little bit more affordable. But we have agreed to terms. The terms should be signed fairly soon. In fact, I looked at a couple of rounds of it today, a couple of turns, and we should have this signed fairly soon, within the next week or so. So we're very comfortable that they're going to agree to the final terms.
Excellent. What are some of the strengths that you foresee First Wave BioPharma having at this point?
I think our biggest strength is our people. We kind of are in an inverted pyramid. We've got a lot of senior folks and not a lot of people at the bottom, really, that do a lot of the grunt work. We do a lot of it on our own. And that's our strength, our passion for patients. We believe we have a product, the adrulipase, that's going to really be revolutionary. Patients are clamoring for. For instance, the patients that take this drug, Creon, right now, they take anywhere from 25 to 40 capsules a day. With Adrulopase, it'll be more about 5 or 6 capsules a day. Life-changing, really, really life-changing. And it's also not going to have anti-genicity issues that a lot of animal products have. So less side effects. We believe it's going to be a safer drug. The patients are clamoring for it. They're waiting for it. So I believe that's what sets us apart.
Wonderful. Are there any major key takeaways that you'd like us to leave our listeners, viewers with?
Well, yeah, number one, I want to thank all the investors out there who believe in the company, despite what's going on in the biotech industry. Many of these things are out of our control, quite frankly, even though I get emails and whatnot. Why can't we fix the share price? I wish I could. The share price will be fixed once we get data. We're going into our bridging study with our new formulation on Adrulopase. We're very confident it's going to work. And then 4 will be ready for phase 3, and so for potential partners in the first or second half, probably late first half of next year. So stay tuned. We've got a great story ahead.
Excellent. I think we've covered quite a lot, unless you want to add anything further, James.
No, thank you very much for the opportunity to talk about the company.
Absolutely welcome, and all the very best.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're watching the Sequire Spotlight. Stay tuned for more.